Oh, thank you. Veterans Affairs Secretary Robert McDonald has apologized for making false claims about serving in Special Operations Forces last month to a homeless man in Los Angeles. He did graduate Army Ranger training before spending 5 years in the Army. So is this misremembering his record? Is it an exaggeration or a flat-out lie? Dan Caldwell joins me from Concerned Veterans for America. Dan, how are you?
Thank you for having me on again, Kennedy.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this because, I heard from some veterans who said, yeah, the guy should be fired. This is stolen valor. Where do you stand? I mean, he did serve honorably. Was it just a slip of the tongue? Did he get caught up in a moment?
A couple things. This is unfortunately part of a larger pattern with Secretary McDonald. Just last week, he was dinged by the Washington Post with 4 Pinocchios, their fact checker, for misrepresenting the number of people who have been fired as part of the waitlist scandal. Going back even further, he misrepresented the VA reform bill that was past summer. If this were just an isolated incident, it would have been wrong, it would have been a bad thing, but it wouldn't be a big deal. Unfortunately, this is part of a pattern with Secretary McDonald. In regards to whether or not he's going to resign or not, quite frankly, I don't think it would make a difference at this point with the VA. My group, Concerned Veterans for America, and myself, we'd like to see him stay, do a 180, embrace real VA reform, and actually be honest with the American people and the veteran community going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worse him lying about the number of people that he's fired for the VA scandal. And I just want to know,
Absolutely.
What are you hearing from vets? What's the one thing that they want to see from the VA that they haven't seen?
They want more health care choice. They want more choices and where they can get their health care. And Congress and the president last summer tried to give them more choice, but unfortunately Secretary McDonald and the VA are undermining that choice through the choice card program. They're basically trying to take money away from the choice card. They're trying to restrict it even further. Unfortunately, the president who signed into law his own budget takes away that money. But more than anything, veterans want the ability to choose where they get their health care. So if they don't like the VA, if they don't like their VA hospital, they can go somewhere else.
Yeah. And it's the same thing that we talked about last night with public schools on this program. When there is a monopoly, right, there's no incentive for improvement. It doesn't matter if you have a guy, who had success in the private sector. When you've got a bureaucracy this great with that many people and that systemic inability to change or improve, of course the people it's supposed to serve are the ones who absolutely get hosed by the system.
You're absolutely correct. And I got to tell you that on Thursday, my group, Concerned Veterans for America, we're going to be releasing a very in-depth plan on how to offer veterans that choice, to give them more health care freedom, and most importantly, put the veteran at the center of the VA, not the bureaucrat and not people like Secretary McDonald. All
right, so we've heard a lot of talk. Has anything actually changed there?
There's been some marginal changes. I mean, very few people have been fired, but quite frankly, it's all small stuff. It's all superficial. The same core systemic problems are still present in the VA. There's still issues with access to care. There's still issues with manipulated wait lists. Out in Denver, Colorado, we just had a new wait list scandal pop up. There's still issues with the VA trying to cover up misconduct. Just this the past couple days, there was a veteran who was seeking care from the VA for post-traumatic stress disorder who froze to death in Iowa. So all the change, Secretary McDonald making VA employees wearing these eye care pins and this, supposed My VA reform plan, that's all superficial. That's not real systemic change, and that has not happened at the VA.
Dan, same with the administration. Hashtags aren't going to cut it. Dan Caldwell, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Indeed.